in horse trailers allows us to save our customers thousands of dollars compared to most dealers. Stop by and see us at Dakota Discount RV, 3330 East Mall Drive across from Cabela's and on JB Road, Blackhawk.
Have you suffered an injury, or maybe you're experiencing pain that just won't get better? There's an expert team of physicians right here in Rapid City ready to help you get back in the game. The Rehab Doctors. They're the official sports medicine physicians of the Rapid City Rush, and they're the team that wants to help you get back on track. You have a choice for your medical care, and there's no referral necessary. For pain relief without surgery, take the first step to feeling better. Just go to therehabdoctors.com.
Sometimes it's just a whoops, sometimes it's a oh no, and sometimes it's an all-out ah! Whatever it is, J&J Truck and Auto Body can take care of it with traditional methods or paintless dent repair because they are a PPG certified and ICAR Gold class shop with ASE certified technicians. Plus, they work with your insurance company, saving you time. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
J&J Truck and Auto Body, 100%.
In Rapid City, you've got a friend in real estate. Hi, I'm Ellen Roach. When buying or selling your home or property, Will Dixon is the man to see.
We'll invite you to experience the Keller Williams culture. Whether you're buying or selling, he can assist you through the entire process with a free market analysis and advise you on all your options. Will handles all phases of real estate and has built a track record for success. Call Will Dixon at Keller Williams Black Hills, 390-1140, and let him be your friend in real estate.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City. This is the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
And here's what you need to know.
The NBA play-in tournament continues tomorrow, and ESPN reports that Cleveland's all-star center Jarrett Allen considers himself 50-50 on returning to the lineup to play against Atlanta. The pain is still significant in his fractured finger, but he remains determined to try and help the Cavs secure the 8th seed. Whoever wins will take on Miami in the first round of the NBA playoffs, which start this weekend. Unfortunately, Luka Doncic is not expected to play for the Dallas Mavericks in their opener against the Utah Jazz due to that calf strain he suffered in the regular season finale. But Steph Curry is on track to play in Game 1 on Saturday against Denver. He has missed the last 12 regular season games for the Warriors. And Brooklyn's Ben Simmons is expected to return and make his debut for the Nets during the playoffs, expected between Games 4 and 6. Major League Baseball, a lot of games going on today. The Seattle Mariners avoided the sweep as they beat the White Sox 5-1. I'm on.
It's time for the only live and local sports talk show in the Black Hills. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, live interviews, and local sports. Exclusively on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City. And streaming online right now at foxsportsrapidcity.com. From the biggest national names to the hottest local stories, welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate.
Oh, here we are, back and ready. It's always a great day in the Black Hills, and good Thursday afternoon to you. The Nate Brown Show live, Fox Sports Rapid City. Bring us up right there, foxsportsrapidcity.com. If you can't listen on the radio, 106.7 FM, 1150 AM. You've got us on your phone right there, foxsportsrapidcity.com. Live stream there, live video. Welcome into the studio on Twitter. You're watching at Nate Brown Show. We appreciate that on Twitter. At Nate Brown Show. Follow the show. Watch the show live on your phone and also right there on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, The Nate Brown Show, and you've got us live 4 to 6 on a high-energy Thursday. We got to bring it today because we're going to take tomorrow off, take a little Easter break. So we're going to bring it today. Some really good guests, some new guests that we haven't had before, some great ones that we have, and a big Thursday show lined up for you. Thought-provoking sports talk. The Nate Brown Show brought to you in part by the Rehab Doctors, the non-operative experts in the Black Hills when it comes to treating pain, neck pain, back pain, See the Rehab Doctors. I've done that myself. Outstanding team here in Rapid City. TheRehabDoctors.com. For pain relief without surgery, you have a choice for your medical care. No referral necessary. Take the first step to feeling better. TheRehabDoctors.com. Leading things off on a Thursday, we'll talk some Huskers today, the spring game. New quarterback, got a good look at him. Casey Thompson comes from Texas, right? The new quarterback for the Huskers. And some news out today on Husker football. I can't believe it. I really can't. I'm surprised by it. I am surprised by it. Sean Callahan's in, HuskerOnline.com, one of the best Husker guys we can get live from Omaha. Sean Callahan joins us coming up. Brand new guest. He was a 3-time All-Star in Major League Baseball. He was the 2009 National League saves leader, former closer for the San Diego Padres, Heath Bell. Going to talk Major League Baseball. We'll talk to Heath Bell, former 3-time All-Star closer in the majors. And yes, we'll get into all sorts of stuff, the pitching stuff, the unwritten rules stuff from yesterday. I took it easy last night. You know, I took a little break after yelling at the clouds all afternoon. Heath Bell's on the way. On the high school sports front, there's an interesting question I want to pose to the audience with South Dakota high school football, and this does relate to us out here West River. It really does, and I want to see what people think of this. Do we need a drastic change in South Dakota high school football and how we put it together? We'll talk to Jason Andera is going to join us from Sioux Falls, Midcoast Sports, high school sports analyst. Down to the SEC we'll go tonight. Covers the SEC for the Daily Journal. Ole Miss beat writer Michael Katz. He's on the way from Mississippi. Some interesting news out of the SEC. And we've got former Green Bay Packer offensive lineman tonight, Mike Wall. Aaron Rodgers just got a new weapon today. I don't think it's quite as what Devontae Adams was, but a new weapon goes into Green Bay. Mike Wall, former Packers O-lineman. We'll talk NFL and Packers with Mike Wall tonight. So a packed Thursday show. Let's get it started and get you on today. Your takes, always readily accepted. Maybe not agreed with, but readily accepted. Yes, I'm kidding. 720-1067. Come on the program. 720-1067. The Boss Pizzeria and Sports Bar Sports Line live in for you. And the Barron's Wilson text line open and ready. Direct text the show. We've got it up right here. Comes right in. 720-1067 on the Barron's Wilson text line. Okay, a few different things I want to hit right out of the gate. And one is a question of the day dealing with Nick Saban's comments on a topic that I love, a topic that I find so interesting, and a topic that's going to keep on going here in the changing landscape of college sports. This is a major, major change. I don't know if there's been something that's changed over the last year more than college sports. I mean, I think it's the biggest change you've seen since the scholarship was introduced. And that's I'm talking about the name, image, and likeness dollars, the sponsorship dollars, guys getting paid, and the transfer portal on top of that. And so it is just the Wild West in college sports right now. And so I find this interesting. Another change has now happened with it. So I think you're going to see all of these things just, okay, now what is this school going to do? Now what's that school going to do? Are there any rules and regulations? Not really, a little bit. The NCAA is trying to tell you there's some rules with this name, image, and likeness, and you got to be careful with it, but really everybody's just going for broke, And so Nick Saban, the godfather of college football right now, the guy, Nick Saban says this statement about name, image, and likeness. And I want to know if you agree with this. Nick Saban interview this week. Here's the statement. And I said, I hit it a little bit last night, later in the program. And I said, we got to revisit this and actually put it out to the audience and see what they think. So here's Nick Saban's statement about paying college players with name, image, and likeness dollars, which he says he is for, by the way. Nick Saban says, I'm for it. We got to find the right way to do it because there's no salary cap. It's free agency. It's wild. And so here's his statement. Whatever school decides they want to pay the most, they have the best chance to have the best team. Whatever school decides they want to pay the most, they have the best chance to have the best team. Do you agree with that statement on its surface? This is the world of college sports, okay? This is the world of college football. So what he's saying is, if you're going to pay the most, you're going to win championships. Whichever school has the donors coming through with the sponsorship dollars, and then you get into the recruiting side of this, which you're not supposed to do, but guess what? It's happening. And so he's tying this, and you could tie it to pro sports in the sense that we talk about Major League Baseball teams. Well, you got to pay to win. You got to pay to win. Does that always happen? Well, you know the answer. Not always. Not always. Look at the Tampa Rays, okay? Look at the Tampa Bay Rays. But then look at the Dodgers. Well, they've done pretty well too, as a matter of fact. So I'll ask you, Nick Saban says whatever school decides to pay the most now, they're going to have the best chance to have the best team. So if you pay the most, you're going to win the titles. And he says that's not college football. That's not college football. So you tell me, 720-1067, we'll start our question of the day with this. Is Nick Saban right? Do you believe that blanket statement is correct? Nick Saban says the school that pays the most will end up having the best team. Do you agree with it? Yes, money will win titles in college football. Money coming through the door to the players. Okay? And keep in mind, they still got to get the facilities and that whole arms race as well. So it's just never ending, the money model in college football now. And Nick Saban says, but you got to have the most money and you got to pay the players the most. That's how you're going to win. Do you buy it? Money wins titles in college football. You believe that moving forward, or no, it's not that easy? No, it's not that easy. So I've got a little side story here, okay? I got a little side story. This is something that's happening almost every week. I've just seen two this week, two stories this week. This is in college football. And as a matter of fact, I've seen 5, let me count it up, over the past couple of weeks. So this is just popping now. This is the new change in college football I'm talking about. And what I'm talking about is these organizations, you can call them LLCs. I mean, they're all under legal terms, but they're called collectives. Do you know what I'm talking about? So universities are starting their own collectives, essentially. The universities aren't in control of these universities for the most part. These are outside entities, but they are tied with the university. Penn State started one a few weeks ago. Now I just saw today Virginia Tech starting one. Florida has their collective going. It's called the Gator Collective. And so what's the moral of the story? What's the point of these? What are these? What are we talking about? Florida Gators Collective, Penn State Nittany Lions Collective, Virginia Tech Collective. What are these? These are organizations that are being started, like the Florida one, for example, has over 2,100 members. Well, how do you become a member of the Florida Gators Collective? This is where you put money in, and this is how the universities have some control of the dollars for sponsorships. This is how the universities can kind of look at it and say, well, we're not really using it to recruit because, the Gator Collective, they're in charge. The Florida Gators athletic department's really not in charge of the collective, or Penn State for that matter, whichever school you want to go down. So, for example, here's the Florida Gators Collective. How is that business rolling? How is that organization doing today? Right now, on a monthly basis, in recurring revenue, the Florida Gators Collective brings in about $44,000. This is so. Did you hear that? The Florida Gators Collective brings in $44,000 per month in recurring revenue, and they're also getting into merchandise sales. So they're getting into some Gator jersey sales and with players' names on them, right? Stuff like that. This is the outside business, quote unquote outside, that's helping put the money to name, image, and likeness sponsorships. They've almost entered into $1 million of a sponsorship with Florida Gator players. This collective, okay? And now universities, they're cranking this thing up. So I'm going to tell you, is that the way to go? Is Nick Saban right saying you spend the most, you're going to win the most? That's my question of the day today. Florida's got 44,000 coming in per month, trying to figure out this deal and that deal. This is all on top of already all the stuff they're already doing. Thanks for calling. You're live today, and you go ahead.
I told you 2 years ago, this is not a good idea. But I'm old. I don't know anything.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting old, but, you know.
You are, and you changed a little bit, Nate. It's nice to see that you reflect in some of your wording of things. And, you know, the old guys, we noticed that, Nate.
All right.
We're like, yeah, he ain't such a young homer. He's with it.
Okay.
But here's my deal with this whole name, image, and likeness. You know what? If you want to give Billy Bob $150 to go with that dang scholarship a week, go ahead. But Billy Bob he shouldn't get no more.
I know. That's what you're stuck on. You really are stuck on that. You really are.
You know why, Nate? What did your brother do for extra money?
Well, he had to do some work.
Football at Wyoming.
Yeah, I mean, he tried.
What was that word you used, Nate?
Work?
Work? Oh, yeah.
It was hard, by the way.
Most 18 to 30-year-olds don't understand yet. But, yeah, that work. And why did you go to work, Nate?
Oh, you need a little money.
You need a little money. So why not give the kid $150, $200? I'm just throwing a number out, but it's a small number, Nate. Okay?
But my brother should have been on YouTube. He should have just done a YouTube channel. he couldn't be on YouTube,
TikTok.
See? Right,
TikTok.
Right.
Yeah, one of them. I still think that's porn. Them kids are telling me at school it's not, but...
I hope not. Good grief.
God, I hope not either, Nate. I don't know how to run them computers. So
hey, do you agree with this? Do you agree with Nick Saban? The most money you pay, that's how you're going to win.
Well, look what Texas A&M did last year. They had, what was it, Nate? I'm going to guess on the number, 34 million?
Yeah, something like that, and they got the number one class by far.
Oh, dude. You know, and Alabama shouldn't complain much because I'll guarantee you their facilities are top-notch.
Oh, they're doing fine. They're doing fine.
Yeah, them kids are... I mean, they got a better iPad.
But see, this is my point, Steve.
This
is my point. I don't know if Nick is right totally. Why? Is Texas A&M going to beat Alabama? I'm not sure on that. I'm not sure.
Can I use that one word that people don't believe that he's important anymore? Can I use one word, Nate? It's called the head coach. That's 2 words. I'm sorry. The coach. I know baseball, you can't coach.
I got you.
Baseball, you can't coach. There's no need for coaches. They ought to get rid of them. Basketball, I mean, we've seen what the president LeBron did with the Lakers. I love that, man. Oh, God. I never laughed so hard in my life.
So you say Saban's going to win because he's Saban?
Yep.
All right.
Saban's the best coaching. You know what,
You do
Nate,
need dollars, by the way. You do need dollars. I mean,
Nate, don't have a problem. He's got a better jet than you wish you had. But no, Nate, he's not hurting.
I know.
And I tell you what, now that nobody wanted to regulate it, now I'm on the other side. I'm like, Nebraska's got 20-some million, I heard.
Well, that's what I'm going to talk about next. I'm going to get into that.
Yeah.
I'm going to get into that.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I listened to another guy down in Omaha, too. So,
All right. I appreciate it.
Buddy.
Thanks for getting in. Sean Callahan's coming up, covers the Huskers in Omaha, HuskerOnline.com. So this is kind of my point. How much are the Huskers going to spend? Can the Huskers spend more and more and more? And we talked about this months ago with the name, image, and likeness, and I said, will this help the Huskers get back in the Big Ten hunt? Will something like this? Well, Nick Saban's statement this week it's an interesting interview. He says, hey, we just need some changes here with name, image, and likeness. And I'm almost with Nick on almost all of it. I mean, he said, I'm okay with it. I'm good with it. Our players are benefiting, things like this, but there's no structure. Okay? There's no salary cap. There's free agency endless amount of times. There's no guardrails, and that's something I've had a problem with. I don't know if I buy if you pay the most, you win titles. I don't know if I buy that. I just say this, Texas A&M. Now, it might take them a little while. Are they going to win the national championship? They had the best class by far, and it's not even close. And they paid a lot of money. Sponsorships, okay? Endorsements. I'm not so sure about that. Thanks for calling. You're live, and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate, thanks for taking my call. You know, I would agree with what Saban has to say is the fact that right now, the learning curve is, I don't even know if you can call it learning curve. It's just a lot of scribbly lines because there is, once again, what he said, there is no structure to it. And the trouble is you're dealing with the NCAA where they can't decide anything. They wait for everybody else to make a decision for them or file a lawsuit
yes, they have
say
no
they want
teeth.
Congress to do it.
No teeth.
And so there's going to be some bad outcomes. There'll be probably shady but you know, if you think about what name, image, and likeness is, the people spending the money, it's 100% their risk. You know, if I want to give a kid $10 million, I can. And he tears his ACL getting off the plane. Well,
sure.
I'm out $10 million. So, but I would agree you have to cap it somewhere because somehow something's going to be ridiculous. But then in the same breath, you know, the kids still got to perform. Number one classes, you know, on paper is one thing. It's just like guys going to the combine in the underwear Olympics and getting drafted, and you never hear from them again. So I mean, there's all of that, but it'll be interesting to see because, like I said, it's 100% risk for whoever's spending the money.
You know,
but it definitely is going to help. I mean,
you know what Nick's saying, though. You know what Nick's saying a little bit. He's saying, hey, whoever pays the most, they're going to win the most. So he's kind of telling his guys, his donors, hey, let's keep up here. he knows what he's doing.
Exactly. He's got to turn the. He doesn't want. I mean, if you think about it, how nice would it be to be Nick Saban and go on recruiting visits? And it's just going to make his job a little harder. Well, he probably doesn't want to work a lot harder. I mean, and I'm sure he works hard now. Those guys all do. And it definitely it's changing. You know, it's leveling the playing field a little bit. But then once again,
yeah. Maybe.
Well, I mean, once again, a little bit. And I'll agree with the last caller. Is the coach still got to coach, player still got to play.
Yes.
But I'll disagree with him in the fact, like, you know, give a kid $150. Is that goes back to the grumpy old man is like, well, you know, the way it always has been.
That's not going to work anymore. Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
we'd still be wearing leather helmets and.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
that doesn't work anymore. No, that's right.
No,
that's right.
Not at all. And just to touch on the Huskers quick is it has, you know, I mean, transfer quarterback, everything, you know, the things that brought some of the players there, the edge rusher from TCU, why, you know, it's a 2-horse race that sounds like between Texas and them, you know, and
Huskers throwing around some money. They're throwing around some money.
Absolutely, they are.
All right. We'll see. I'm going to get into this coming up. Thanks for getting in. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Thanks, man. So that's my question here. If you pay the most, you win the most. That's the statement from Nick today. If you pay the most, you win the most. And he said, and that's why it's wrong. The salary cap, there is none. Free agency, it's constant. And he said, so it really comes down to there are no rules and regulations for the most part. You got these universities starting their own collectives. Florida's bringing in money separately. Penn State, Virginia Tech just started theirs today. I think I saw that. So everybody's going to be doing this now. Do you think if you pay the most, you win the most? 76% of the audience says yes today so far. 76% of you say money's going to win the titles. End of story. 76%. Thanks for calling. You're live, and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate. Thanks for getting me in. I'm curious. I don't know. I'm not going to act like I know what's going to happen because I really don't know what's going to happen with all this. But I was just going to ask you, like, if you think any part of this is going to self-regulate itself. I'll explain that and then let you go. But so, like, I don't think a lot of the top players are going to go to the same place because they're not going to get, there's going to be more programs offering a lot of money.
Okay.
So I think, and so I think that's going to self-regulate some. And then I think with the name, image, and likeness stuff, I don't know what's going to happen, but do you think that any of these players will change where they're going to go so they can be like the bigger fish in the pond? I don't necessarily know if you're going to get like all the top 5 players going to the place that's going to pay the most because it doesn't offer as much exposure. But that's what I was going to ask.
That's interesting. I'll get on that. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. That's interesting. So I kind of said that before. I kind of said, hey, name, image, and likeness, it's not just going to be the rich getting richer, right? Is it going to be the rich getting richer, the Alabamas, the Clemsons, okay? I think it can spread out the wealth a little bit. I think it can because it's still going to be hard, but you've got the Floridas, you've got the Texas A&Ms. For the most part, Texas A&M hasn't been on the level of the Georgias and Alabamas. They just haven't, and they're getting there. So I think you're looking at it saying, how did Texas A&M get the number 1 class? That's always been reserved for Alabama, Clemson, Georgia. Ohio State's always, they're up there too. Okay, so that's it. And now Texas A&M's getting into that mix. And they'll tell you it's because of the millions and millions of dollars. But I also am going to say they can have so much money now. There are no limits. That Texas A&M actually brought in more 5-star guys into one recruiting class than the Big Ten did this past year. So, well, will all the guys go all the separate places? Yeah, maybe. But at the same time, I look at that story this year and I say, Texas A&M had so much money and so many deals signed, they brought in more 5-star recruits in the Texas A&M class than the Big Ten combined. And that concerns me a little bit. Not Nick Saban, so then this week, Nick's like, hey, you got to start paying. Nick's not a dummy, right? Nick's smart. He's telling his guys, that's his line. Whatever school decides they want to pay the most, they have the best chance to have the best team. What do you think Nick's telling his folks down there? The Alabama bankrollers. Hey, we got to get with it here. It's kind of like Coach K in basketball. Coach K was watching Coach Calipari and, hey, one and done. Whoa, hang on a second. Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Davis, some of these guys, the one and doneers. Kentucky's getting all these guys. And Coach K's like, I know we had a fun time with Christian Laettner and Bobby Hurley and these guys. It was fun. 4 years. I'm going to go one and done. I'm going to go hard one and done. And then you saw what happened. Duke was right back in the mix. Interesting. Nick Saban's just saying, we got to stay in this mix. Alabama will, but Texas A&M beat them this year. They beat them with the dollars. Coming right back with Sean Callahan. Can Nebraska do this with dollars? Can they? Sean Callahan covers the Huskers. Really good from Omaha. HuskerOnline.com is his site. He started it. HuskerOnline.com. And I can't believe what I saw about Nebraska today. I can't. I thought it was a cruel joke, but it's real, and it's next.
From high school to college to the pros, this is the Nate Brown Show on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM Fox Sports Rapid.
There are times in life when you just have to say, this is a no-brainer, and we are doing it. And right now is one of those times. Renewal by Andersen makes the best windows you can get. They have more 5-star customer reviews than anyone in the industry. And right now you can get Renewal by Andersen windows with no money down, no interest, no payments for a full year with approved credit. A full year. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com. Renewal by Andersen. This is one of those times in life. It's a no-brainer. We're doing it.
44.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. A wind advisory continues until 6 p.m. this evening. Chance of snow tonight, otherwise cloudy skies expected. Lows dip down to about 18, winds out of the north 10 to 20 miles per hour. Overcast tomorrow, chance of snow, high of 37. 17 tomorrow night, partly cloudy. a dusting of snow tonight. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 36.
With home values rising in the Black Hills, a home equity loan from Black Hills Community Bank is a great way to get ahead. Thinking about home improvements or projects this summer? Apply for a home equity loan from Black Hills Community Bank. You may have cash in your house that you didn't even know about, and it's a great time to be a homeowner. Just think about the potential of what you could do with a home equity loan. Black Hills Community Bank is ready to help. Get started on your home equity loan at bhcbank.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer from Denny Menholt Toyota. Use your phone. It's fast and easy. Pull up our website, click on Value Trade-In, scan your VIN, and tell us about your car. You are on your way to a no-hassle, no-commitment cash offer on your vehicle in under 5 minutes. Bring your vehicle and your Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash Offer to Denny Menholt Toyota and get cash or trade-in credit today. See you soon at Denny Menholt Toyota, Rapid City.
Hey Black Hills, Boss Pizza and Chicken is now bringing you the best new sports bar in Rapid City. Grab your crew and check out the new Boss Pizzeria and Sports Bar on North Lacrosse Street. Same great pizza, chicken, and food you love from Boss, and now a full-service bar with beer, wine, and liquor. Boss Pizzeria and Sports Bar is a newly remodeled sports bar with TVs all around and a sports ticker dedicated to local and regional sports. This is the place for sports fans in the Black Hills. The new Boss Pizzeria and Sports Bar in North Lacrosse and Rapid City. They're open early and open really late. Also with delivery at BossPizzaandChicken.com.
Hi, it's Colin Coward. Great to be in the Black Hills. Getting the herd weekdays 10 to 1 on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports.
We are live on Fox Sports Rapid City. Last day before an Easter break for us on the Nate Brown Show. Fox Sports Rapid City streaming there at foxsportsrapidcity.com. Bring us up on Twitter. Watch the show live. Welcome into the studio on Twitter at Nate Brown Show. If you're on Twitter, you can follow the show and watch the show live. 2009 National League saves leader coming up. Three-time All-Star closer. He was the closer for the Padres, Heath Bell. Live straight ahead. Talk Major League Baseball coming up. Sean Callahan's in tonight. Does a great job on the Husker beat. I'll tell you that. HuskerOnline.com, his site. HuskerOnline.com. Get there for Husker News. I do it every day. Sean Callahan on tonight on the Nate Brown Show. Find him on Twitter at Sean_Callahan. Sean, always good to have you. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. Spring football is over and kind of moving on here to the next stage out here, and Nebraska is getting ready to open up in Ireland now in August, so that's kind of the next thing.
I like it. I'm looking at this, Kay. I'm going to get into this and see what you think. I'll start with after the spring game, and so here comes the Football Power Index rankings. It's always interesting, Sean, to me. I was go, ESPN's Football Power Index rankings will say, here's how many games this team's going to win. And here's who's going to win the Big Ten, for example. The Huskers picked to win the Big Ten West, a 29.2% chance, just ahead of Wisconsin. I was surprised to see it, but you tell me your thoughts.
Well, they've got a great schedule, and I think that's probably part of that poll when they factor in these things. Last year, Nebraska finished 36th in the final computer polls, and 8 of their losses were to teams ranked 27 or better, and 4 of them were to the top 10. I mean, so nobody can deny it. I mean, Nebraska played maybe the toughest schedule we've ever seen them play in terms of ranked teams and, you know, unbiased computer poll. When you look at the final, they had one bad loss, and that was to Illinois. But the problem was they lost so many one-score games last year. I think almost every one of them was a one-score loss last year. So it was such an outlier of a season. Now, with that said, you don't have Michigan State and you don't have Ohio State anymore. You still have Michigan as a crossover game, but you replace the crossovers with Indiana and Rutgers. Indiana was 7th, and Rutgers, I believe, was 6th in the East. So Nebraska does have a much more favorable draw when you break it down like that. And what will that get them? It's hard to say. But it does really set up much better for them on paper when you break down the schedule.
What do you think the fans are saying, Sean? HuskerOnline.com, meaning Big Ten West and the Huskers are at the top. This just reminds me of a couple of years ago. Not last year, but a couple of years ago, where there were some high expectations and they were picked to win the Big Ten West, similar like this. And I go, uh-oh, and things didn't go well. What do the fans say about this?
Yeah, I mean, I think people in general are just pretty burnt by the way it's gone the last 5 years. And no one's, you look at the last 5 years, there's really only 1 year Nebraska people thought could win the West outright, and that was 2019. Scott Frost's first season, you knew that they were going to probably hover, you thought at least, in a 5 to 7 win range, and they won 5 that first year. They went 4-2 down the stretch, though, and took Iowa down to a last-second field goal, and Ohio State had to beat them late in the game in the fourth quarter. So they played really well that first year. But in 2019, they were ranked, and that was the year everybody thought they could win the West as maybe a 9-3, 10-2 team, and they went 5-7 again. That was one that jumped out. And by the way, they went 4-2, I guess, or 4-8 in Frost's first year. But 2020, you can't even really look at that season because it was a different schedule. You only played 8 games. It was only conference games.
Yeah.
And then last year, Nebraska had the really, really difficult draw. So every season has been its own story, and the result has not produced a bowl game. And Nebraska was actually able to go to a bowl in 2020 if they wanted to, and the players opted not to go, which that obviously was a sore subject. So it's just been a long 5 years, and I think no one's going to really get overly excited here because they've been burned so hard and their heart's been broken. This team just got to prove it, and they got to win, and it starts with week 0 on the road at Northwestern. If they can win that game, Nebraska can be 3-0. And I don't think on the outside a lot of people realize, but 3-0 here would really, really get it going. They haven't been 3-0 like that in a long, long time. And they play North Dakota, and they play Georgia Southern after Northwestern. Then Oklahoma would come to Lincoln. So the schedule sets up great. Their first 9 games, in all reality, other than Oklahoma, are against teams where Nebraska would probably have better talent in a lot of cases on paper. Then the final 3 are Wisconsin and Iowa and Michigan. So it's a favorable draw, especially over the first 9 games.
Yeah, it's interesting. ESPN's Football Power Index out this week, giving Nebraska a 93.5% chance. 93.5% chance of winning 6 games. And the schedule's favorable. Sean Callahan on tonight, HuskerOnline.com. I want to get into this because I was just opening the show with name, image, and likeness, Sean, and all these universities having these collectives. Florida Gators, Penn State, Virginia Tech just got theirs cranking this week. Nebraska on the sponsorship side, name, image, and likeness. What's it look like here? Is Nebraska up to speed with a collective and funneling a lot of money in here for the athletes?
Well, Nebraska formed the first collective in college football, to my knowledge. ABM started in really August, and they were off the ground running. And I get my data on that from Open Doors, who's kind of the forefront of NIL.
Yeah, Open Doors. Yeah.
And Blake Lawrence and I did a television show for 15 years together. I've known him a long time.
Okay.
And they operated very quietly with their collective and what they did, mainly because it was so different. But they did 450 deals for $850,000 to current Husker players in the last 6 months, and they have $3.5 million raised in the collective for future deals, and that's going to keep growing. And there could be other collectives that start. No one says there only has to be one collective. I know some schools have 2, but the collective in Nebraska right now has a who's who list of businesses behind it, with 6 and possibly even a 7-figure donation made into the collective. So Nebraska's well on their way. They just haven't been very out front advertising it. Their compliance here has always been very strict. I think the athletic director here, Trev Alberts, wants to kind of have control of NIL. I don't think he likes the collectives. A lot of ADs don't, but they're playing by the rules, so they're going to be here. So I think the collective here is operated a little quieter But you've got the former Attorney General of Nebraska, John Bruning, and then the former Chief of Staff for Nebraska football, Jared Lamprecht. They run the collective here. So they're pretty well set up and organized. And I talk to people all around the country. They're as organized here on that end as anybody I've talked to.
Interesting. I will ask this. Nick Saban said this week, whoever pays the most, they have the best chance to be the best. Do you agree with that?
Yes. The thing is, it's such a short-term thing, though. Like A&M had the number one ranked recruiting class in the country, but if it doesn't go well for some of those kids in the first year or two, how many are going to be gone? So I think it's just going to ramp up transfer portals even more because of just the dynamics of the game with these collectives.
Let me get your perspective before I let you run. Sean Callahan on tonight, HuskerOnline.com. What did you think and perceive of Casey Thompson, new quarterback, comes in from Texas? How was the spring?
You know, he was solid. He wasn't really pushed hard because Chubba Purdy only went about a week. Heinrich Haarberg only could practice for about a week. So there wasn't much of a push on him, and I think that would be the one beef Scott Frost has. He would like to have seen Casey Thompson kind of have to earn it. So they've not named him the starter yet. Obviously, he's in the driver's seat among driver's seats, but they have not named him the guy because he hasn't really had to sweat much out yet, and I think they want him to do that before they move forward. And Chubba Purdy did show a lot. He's a talented guy. He was projected to be the starter at Florida State until he got hurt, and then things kind of never rebounded for him. So this is a fresh start for him. Heinrich Haarberg is as impressive as any of the guys on the roster. He's just pretty raw. I mean, he's the biggest. He's got the strongest arm. He runs really, really well. So he's another guy to watch. And then you had Logan Smothers, who started against Iowa. So they've got options. But Thompson obviously would be in the driver's seat.
Give me your perspective, a quick one. What's different about this team with some of the new coaches in here?
Just personality. I think the offensive staff has more juice, more energy, all the way across the board. Mickey Joseph at running backs coach and Brian Apple, or at receivers and Brian Applewhite at running backs, just completely different the way they bring it every day. And I think it's added a lot more energy behind the scenes.
Sean Callahan tonight. Great stuff. HuskerOnline.com, his site. Find him on Twitter. Follow him, Husker fans. Sean_Callahan. Sean, great stuff. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks, Nate.
Appreciate your time. Sean Callahan tonight on Fox Sports Rapid City. Love having him on. HuskerOnline.com, live from Omaha. HuskerOnline.com started that site. Really good insider. You want good information, he's really good. Sean Callahan tonight. That's interesting. Nebraska has done $850,000 worth of name, image, and likeness deals. $850,000 worth. Compare that with the news out today. Florida, the Gators, they've done $900,000. So similar. Florida has SEC trying to make up some ground. That collective has done $900,000 in name, image, and likeness deals. That's really interesting. So Nebraska up to speed. The big news out today with the Huskers, ESPN's Football Power Index. They break down the season, the team, the whole thing, and it's the scientific breakdown, right? The data. We got to look at the data. And ESPN's FPI, everybody looks at it. The Huskers projected to win 7.5 games. Okay? I mean, it takes it down to the decimal point. Okay? 7.5. So can the Huskers go 8-4? 6-6. 7-5. Where are they going to be? Are they going to be in there? By the way, the big one, though, is they were projected to win the Big Ten West. Nebraska wins the Big Ten West 29.2% of the time in ESPN's breakdown. Wisconsin wins the Big Ten West 28.9%. 29.2% chance of winning the Big Ten West. The Huskers, the number one team in the Big Ten West in ESPN's Football Power Index today. And this is after a 3-9 season last year. Boy, I don't like that. What do I mean by that? I don't like the huge expectations like that. You want to start off like, oh, we're projected to be right in the middle of the pack with the Purdue's and those, right? We're going to be in the middle of the pack, not all the Huskers, number one of the Big Ten West on ESPN's Football Power Index. Oh boy. Oh boy, there's only one place to go, to the top or down. And down's not good for Mr. Frost. Back with Heath Bell, former Major League Baseball pitcher. He was the 3-time All-Star closer for the San Diego Padres. Heath Bell next.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, streaming live at FoxSportsRapidCity.com and right here on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM Fox Sports Rapid City.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson, McPherson Auction Company, on today's online-only auction for the Jim Lamar Estate, featuring a 2010 29.5-foot fifth-wheel camper. Features 3 slide-outs. Camper's in very nice condition. We also have 2 Titan gooseneck flatbed trailers, small utility diesel tractor with a loader, household items, collectibles, guns and ammo, and much more. Approximately 400 lots selling today's online auction. For more details and to bid and buy, go to McPhersonAuction.com.
Tin Lizzie BetMGM Sportsbook is your home for the best sports betting experience in Deadwood. With great food, great service, and brand new 4K TVs, there's not a bad seat in the house. And every game is on at Tin Lizzie, where you can bet on Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NHL, and UFC. BetMGM Sportsbook at Tin Lizzie, the king of sportsbooks. What game are you betting on? Make your play at Tin Lizzie, Main Street, Deadwood.
One of the best attributes of a trust is that you get to say how you want things to happen.
I think that is one thing we set ourselves apart in, is really getting to know people.
We get really involved with people as far as what their needs are and what their family is like.
In the end, it's all about our clients, our customers. It's about how we can make things best for them. They aren't a number, they're a person. Pioneer Bank and Trust is local.
Broadcasting from the Anytime Auto Sales, Service, and Detail Studio. Sales, service, and side-by-sides. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Hey, welcome back in. South Dakota Sports Talk Show lively today. I love that. I love that. Question of the day. We've thrown that out there. We'll have another one on the way. Hang on. The Nate Brown Show live, Fox Sports Rapid City. Follow us on Twitter at Nate Brown Show and watch the show live. Former Packers offensive lineman Mike Wall coming up. Mike Wall on the Brett Favre teams back in the day. Former old lineman for the Packers. We'll talk NFL and more. Right now, he's the closer, man. You saw this guy. I watched this guy in his career. 3-time All-Star. 2009 National League saves leader, the closer, the Padres, Heath Bell. He is now host of Ring the Bell Pods Talk on the Believe Podcast Network. Let's talk Major League Baseball as the season's a week in. Heath Bell live on the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Heath, good to have you. I appreciate your time. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing good.
All
nice
right.
Day out.
All right. I want to ask you, first things first, this time of year, springtime, guys are tossing it around. How much do you miss playing baseball?
I miss hanging out with the guys and talking sports and just being around the game. And what I think I've missed the most besides all that is I get to watch baseball every day. And now, dealing with some kids, my son has a game tonight and my other son plays tennis. So I'm just juggling back and forth where I can't really sit down and watch Major League Baseball every single day, every day. So, I'm more of a dad now.
I believe that. I've talked to players and I've said, how much do you miss the grind? And some players said, hey, I was playing baseball for a living, but the 162-game schedule, how was it for you?
For me, I love the game. I love just seeing different players and watching. I could sit and watch 162 games. I could watch probably 200 games a year or whatnot. So to me, it was a dream come true, and it was never really a grind. The only grind part is when my kids got older and you wanted to kind of be with the family and then go play. And it's like, what do I got? What's more important in my life? But, if I didn't have a family, gosh, baseball would just be the best thing in the world if I got to do it every single day. And I did. for a long time. So it was, like I said, it wasn't really a grind. It was I was a grown-up getting paid stupid amount of money to play a game, and it was awesome.
Heath Bell on. He is the host of Ring the Bell Pods Talk on the Believe Podcast Network, the three-time All-Star closer here on the Nate Brown Show, Fox Sports Rapid City. You said your son plays baseball. We talk a lot of youth sports here on this show, and parents, and the dynamics and all the intensity sometimes and the pressure. How do you deal with it? You're a major leaguer. Your son's now, that's Heath Bell's son. How do you deal with it?
You know what? A lot of the kids will ask me questions and stuff like that. My kid thinks I don't know anything. But my kid's really smart in the game. He's just a little bit inexperienced. And he's like every other kid. Dad you don't really know anything. I know better, or the high school coach knows better. And it's like hard to say, sometimes the high school coach calls me and asks me questions.
Yeah.
But it's all right. I step back and I let him deal with his coaches, and I haven't coached him for a couple of years, and I kind of let him be his own person, his own man. And my son can pitch like I did, but his passion is hitting, and he's the big home run hitter for his high school. I mean, the high school, they've played like 15 games, and he already has 4 home runs.
I like it.
Yeah, he's a big first baseman that crushes the ball.
Okay.
So,
now, you were a closer, so you didn't have to do this very often, but what do you think about the National League going DH here?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the DH. I know it's more exciting, more fun, but I always felt like that was the American League, and there's not that strategy. Like, when a pitcher has a perfect game or a no-hitter and the game's tied 0-0 at the 7th, 8th inning with a guy on second and 2 outs, pitcher's up. What's the strategy? What are you going to do? Are you going to pitch hit for him? You're not going to pitch hit for him. There's not much strategy for that. And I liked it how the American League and National League were different. Now it's kind of, they're all the same.
Heath Bell on, 2009 NL saves leader. So let's talk pitching. The big story of the week is Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
And he goes 7 innings, 80 pitches. He says, well, it was time to go. I didn't have great stuff. And so that was the line from him, from Dave Roberts, and the whole thing. I just don't love it. I'm a fan, though, Heath. I'm a fan. I wanted to see it. I would love to see days of Jack Morris and perfect, complete games. I thought I would have loved to see it. What do you say?
I know those two guys really well, and I respect their decision and stuff. I personally I'd be lobbing the ball. Kevin Costner, in love of the game. I got nothing. I'm just going to throw the ball down the middle and see if it's my destiny or not. But you know what? Clayton Kershaw, he's older now, and he's a little bit wiser, where the last 2 years he did have some injuries. And I think Clayton wants to be Clayton Kershaw, that everybody knows, the ace of the Dodgers, the dominant pitcher that he can be. And he wants to pitch in 35 games a year and not just, pitch a couple games and then get hurt. I mean, maybe you saw Yu Darvish with the Padres, go farther than he should have the first game because he had a no-hitter going. And then his next outing, he gave up 9 and didn't even make it out of the second inning. So, I think he's thinking long haul, wants to win a World Series, and he wants to be the guy that pitches Game 1 of the World Series or Game 7 and not just, pitch a couple months and then has to go on the DL like he has the last couple of years. So I respect him, but personally, I would have been out there, and I don't care. I'll throw left arm. Come on.
How do the pitchers? You were a pitcher. You hung with the guys. How do pitchers value the perfect game? There's only been 23 of them in the history of baseball.
It's one of those things you never talk about because it rarely ever happens. It's more like it's the dream come true to win get a perfect game. I mean, a no hitter.
Right.
But then
right.
a perfect game is like one of those that it's almost like you win the lottery. It just doesn't happen. So I know everybody's talking about it now, but I bet you last year nobody really talked about perfect game. It was more like no hitters. But this is just, that's why it's hard and everybody's talking about it, because Clayton is like, come on, just lob it up there.
Yeah.
Just lob it up there.
See what happens.
It doesn't,
right.
Like some position players, they go out there and just lob the ball and the guys can't hit it, and they roll over or pop up. Everybody would have just loved to seen that. But I understand why he did it, and I respect him for that. But I know I couldn't have done that. But, Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like winning the lottery. You could dream about it, but you really never really think like, wow, it could really happen to me.
Three-time All-Star closer in the majors, Heath Bell on Couple More. I'll let him run his podcast. Download it. Host of Ring the Bell Pods Talk, former Padres closer. Are analytics helping players or kind of ruining baseball sometimes?
I totally believe it's ruining baseball. I really believe, because here's the thing. I'll sum it all up into this, and I do this on my podcast all the time, and it's funny, I'm a big Padre fan, but you might think I'm not, and, I'm a huge historian of baseball. I love baseball, but sometimes I go on rants, because it's one of those things, like, you watch the game now, the last couple of years, how many times do you see an outfielder pull out a cheat sheet, or even a pitcher? Okay, what do I got to throw to him? What do I got to do this? It's like there's so much information, they can't even remember it. There's all this information, and I think it's ruining the game, because there's no, like, kids nowadays, like, man, if you face Mike Trout, how would you get him out? Or how would you face Clayton Kershaw? A lot of kids nowadays are like, well, I don't know, I got to talk to the coach first, or what's the
right,
report say? It's like, man, as a kid, I was like, man, I could get Bo Jackson out. I could get Reggie Jackson out. If I face this guy, I'd strike him out. I'd throw a fastball inside and curveball down below. And, that's the time when I threw probably like 80 miles an hour. But, it was just something you thought of it. You dreamed of it. Now it's more like, what does the coach want me to do? Where does the coach want me to play?
Interesting.
Whatever the coach tells me to do. And that's analytics. And here's the thing is the World Series, just, 2 years ago, the analytics ruined the Tampa Bay Rays to win the World Series.
Yeah,
Game
the Blake
7.
Snell game, right?
Yeah, Snell out there was dealing. And they were like, no, analytics says he's not going to do well. Well, analytics says he wasn't going to do well the first two innings.
No.
Against that team, especially Mookie Betts, that he struck out two times in a row. He just had the night. It was his night. And they pulled him, and analytics ruined a championship for a team.
By the way, it almost happened with the Cubbies. You may remember Madden pulled Kyle Hendricks pretty early, and the Cubbies almost blew that the year that they won it.
Yeah, exactly. If they didn't have the bullpen they had, it would have never happened.
Yeah, it's interesting. Last one for Heath Bell. So you're a Padres guy, so I got to ask you, last 24 hours here, Padres get upset. They're down 9. The Giants bunt for a base hit. It's the unwritten rule stuff. Padres are like, oh, come on. You can't bunt for a base hit when you're up 9. Giants say, hey, we're trying to get in and score as many runs as possible and wear down pitchers. What say you?
Here's the thing. The last couple of years, and I talk about this in my podcast, why does the Padres always have these unwritten rules? Like Tatis a few years ago, 3-0, hits a grand slam. You're not supposed to swing 3-0 in Texas and whatnot. Here's the thing. So the Padres are down, right? So should the Giants just not try anymore? And I'm not a huge Giants fan, but I'm play hard, play 110% every single out, every single inning. And I teach the kids that I coach sometimes, or I teach them all the time, I don't coach all the time, is we have to win every inning. It doesn't matter the score. Every inning is 0-0. Let's win this inning. So if you're up by 10 runs, should the other team not try anymore? Should the outfield, if the Padres are up by 10, should the San Francisco Giants outfielders not hustle for a fly ball that's in the gap? Should you just let them have a triple instead of a double, or
if somebody laid down a bunt against Heath Bell, you're
I would go field the ball and get them out.
Okay. I like it. I love it. I'm glad to hear it.
It's one of those things. I don't like position players pitching, especially this early in the season, and we see it a lot early.
Sure. No, I got you on that.
My thing is don't ever give up. I hate it when I see teams. It's like we're giving up the last 2 innings because our starter just gave up 10 runs. Really?
Yeah. I said that yesterday. I'm glad.
Like were the Giant hitters where they were supposed to not try to get a hit anymore?
Right.
I mean, think about that.
Right. No, that's the thing. And a bunt's a hit. It is what it is.
It's part of the game.
Ring the Bell, Pods Talk. That's the podcast. Take a listen to it, man. Download it on the Believe Podcast Network. Heath Bell on tonight on the Nate Brown Show. 3-time All-Star closer. Heath, good to talk to you. Thanks for hopping on in.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
I appreciate your time. Heath Bell on tonight host of Ring the Bell. That's his podcast, Pods Talk, on the Believe Podcast Network, three-time All-Star, the 09 saves leader in the National League. I remember watching his career. Good discussion in Major League Baseball with Heath Bell. Good discussion. And by the way, man, I love Heath. He agrees with me on both fronts. You got to have Clayton Kershaw finish the perfect game or at least try. And the unwritten rules, I can't bunt when I'm up 9 runs. What? Huh? And this is the guy that played. This is the guy that should be upset if they lay down a bunt and he's in garbage time and his team's down 9 runs. No, he said, play baseball. I like it, Heath. I like it. Jason Andera's in next on the Nate Brown Show, high school sports analyst from Sioux Falls. I've got some things to discuss with Jason. It's a big discussion, as a matter of fact, about South Dakota high school football and what we should do. Should we have a major change in how we do high school football in this state? Big discussion next.
You're listening to the only live and local sports talk show in the Black Hills. The Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports RapidCity.com and live on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM Fox Sports Rapid.
There are times in life when you just have to say, this is a no-brainer, and we are doing it. And right now is one of those times. Renewal by Andersen makes the best windows you can get. They have more 5-star customer reviews than anyone in the industry. And right now you can get Renewal by Andersen windows with no money down, no interest, no payments for a full year with approved credit. A full year. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com. Renewal by Andersen. This is one of those times in life. It's a no-brainer. We're doing it.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. A wind advisory continues until 6 p.m. this evening. Chance of snow tonight, otherwise cloudy skies expected. Lows dip down to about 18, winds out of the north 10 to 20 miles per hour. Overcast tomorrow, chance of snow, high of 37. 17 tomorrow night, partly cloudy. A dusting of snow tonight. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 36.
Nothing compares to the giveaways at First Gold Gaming Resort. Our promo hot seat drawings every weekend pay out over $34,000. Saturday night's Lucky Sevens drawings award players with another $21,000 in cash. On April 30th, the Golden Cash Blast pays out another $12,000 in cash. Plus, First Gold has slot tournaments every Friday and Sunday totaling $16,000 in prize packages. All told, that's over $80,000 every single month at First Gold Gaming Resort. It's where Deadwood begins and the winning never ends.
Someone will come in, they'll have a noise under the hood. We'll go out and take a look at it. We can determine by the type of noise, and usually if we can determine where it's coming from, we can direct them to the piece that has failed. My name is Dick Lemke. Working at Sturtevant's as long as I have, it's definitely become my career. When you need someone to help solve the problem, start with a Sturtevant store near you.
STURTVANTS, come and see Sturtevant's. Has it Sturtevant's?
Fans know some things just go together. Slam dunks and three-pointers, face paint and super fans, game days and tailgates. I'm State Farm agent Scott Carlson, and I know another winning combination, home and auto. Me and my team are here to help life go right when you combine your home and auto insurance, which saves you time and money. So get your home and auto on the same team and score some savings. Call me, State Farm agent Scott Carlson, at 342-0188.
Everyone knows scratch tickets make great gifts during the holidays. But think about it. Scratch tickets are a perfect pick-me-up for a lot of occasions. Need to thank someone? Give them a scratch. Need to say I'm sorry like you really mean it? Give a scratch. Say congrats to that promotion. New house, or your friend's new dog that looks more like a possum than a poodle. You know that thing likes a good scratch. The next time you need a gift that says whatever like you mean it, quit scratching your head and just give them a scratch. Scratch tickets from the South Dakota Lottery. Good fun. Must be 18 to play. Please play responsibly.
Hey, Rapid City, it's Doug Gottlieb. Join me weekdays from 1 to 4 right here on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports, Rapid City. And now let's get you back to the Nate Brown Show, Rapid City's sports talk show.
Hey, welcome back in on a Thursday. The Nate Brown Show is on. The Drive at 5, brought to you by Summit Automotive Group, SummitAutoGRP.com. You're out the door. It's 5 o'clock. Let's get into it. All right, coming up, Michael Katz covers the SEC live from Mississippi. We're going to talk college football, name, image, and likeness, the statements from Nick Saban, and the whole landscape in recruiting right now. Michael Katz coming up, SEC coverage from Mississippi. Former Packers offensive lineman's on tonight. He's going to join us. Mike Wall, former old lineman for the Green Bay Packers, talking NFL. Packers had a wide receiver today. Mike Wall's on tap. The Nate Brown Show live, bringing in Jason Andera, high school sports analyst, Midco Sports, Sioux Falls, on Twitter at Andera Midco. Jason, always good to have you. How are you?
Doing well. We're experiencing like 30, 40-mile-an-hour winds, but it's not snowing in Sioux Falls, so I'm thankful.
We don't feel sorry for you. We've had like 30, 40-mile-an-hour winds like for 3 weeks straight. Okay, so we don't feel too sorry for you. By the way, though, some blizzard out here northwest. We didn't get hit in Rapid City, but I'll tell you, it's been a little snowy out in these parts. I'm going to ask you about the situation here in high school football. I have a question of the day, and I think it's something that's interesting because people are on both sides of this, and it's a really close vote right now. We have a lot of votes in it. So I brought this up because the board meeting for the Activities Association, Jason, happened this week. There was a long discussion about football and football scheduling. And so there's been a history on this in the past, and now I bring this up. Should South Dakota go to each school scheduling their own football games as we do in every other sport? Where do you stand?
Yeah, that's a good one. They try to have these schedules done with plenty of time, before the season starts, and I think that's the positive of having the Activities Association do it, even though it's a real pain for them to try to accommodate so many different schools with so many different needs in this situation. In basketball, I think, or volleyball for that matter, or any other sport, I think, it's more work for the individual schools to get that done, and it takes it a little longer, and it's harder to schedule different things. And I think for football, because it's such a once-a-week event, you've got these bowl games, and you've got, conference championships that the smaller schools do against each other. I think it works better to have the association do that because it's done in a more timely manner.
You do. Okay. So you think the association doing the football schedules is right. Some people have expressed this week, they said, hey, like, for example, 9-man schools. There's a 9B school saying, man, our schedule is all over the map. We got to play 9AA. We got to play 9A. We don't even get to play any 9B schools. That's kind of where this is being brought up again. It's like, is the scheduling like that appropriate, or some of these small schools say, we want to play teams closer to us and closer around us. It feels like there's, some people saying our schedule doesn't quite reflect what it could be.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's just that every time you accommodate, people in one way, you have to take something away. And if you've ever put any kind of a schedule together, try putting one together for 150 teams for a high school organization. It's an absolute job to do. So it's Irene Wakanda you're talking about. Yeah, they're the team that's 9B. They don't get to play any other 9B schools, and they don't get to play Viborg Hurley, which is 10 minutes away from them. Obviously, you kind of get that. But, if you make a change for them, then all of a sudden somebody else might not have a game that week, or somebody might have to travel even further that, they don't want to, like Custer has to, I believe, take 4 trips, East River, on their schedule this next year. Like, it's just so hard to get it right for everybody. I think the best way to do it is to have a centralized schedule with the Activities Association and try to accommodate as many schools as possible, knowing that you're absolutely never going to get it perfect, ever.
Okay. I ask you about this because back in the day, teams out here would go and play Wyoming. Okay. We still do that a little bit in basketball. Some of the schedules are made, and played a little Nebraska, played a little Wyoming basketball. Used to do that in football. Some people out here are proponents of that. What do you say about playing out of state in football?
I love it.
You do?
I think there's so many geographical challenges with so many different schools, big schools, small schools. There's geographic challenges for everybody. So if you can expand the number of teams that you can, include that might match up with you on a competitive level, let's do it. I don't care about regular season, records and balances and all that stuff. I think that is a much more positive way to handle it than other. I wish Sioux Falls schools could play Minneapolis schools sometimes, or suburbs, or Fargo schools, or Omaha schools. I wish Rapid City could have some more games where they don't have to travel 6 hours to go play somebody. I wish Harding County could find a few more games closer to them that they don't have to travel so much. I think that'd be fantastic.
The Activities Association, the way that breaks down, that's not happening, right? I mean, it's all in state. I mean, it just is.
Well, it is. What you'd have to do is what you do now is you'd have to submit what you would like your schedule to be, and then have the Activities Association actually try to make as much of that happen as possible. Again, it's an imperfect system, but I think that's probably the best we got. You could maybe argue the other point that you could make your own schedule, and then there's a bunch of issues with that as well. I think for football, like I said, because it's a once a week event, scheduling needs to be done a little bit more orderly, I guess is what you'd say. I still think you could find a way to play out of state schools with the SDHSAA giving their blessing to it.
Jason Andera's on from Sioux Falls Midco Sports, high school sports analyst, talking high school football schedules. They're coming out, and some people are saying, we don't like this schedule, we don't like that schedule, and the state does the schedules. The schools do all their other schedules for volleyball, basketball, soccer. Last one on this. The history was, Jason, I've been told, is when the schools did their own football schedules, you'd have teams that couldn't have games. You'd have teams all of a sudden, right. Okay, we're missing here. And I just wonder, if we can get it done in other sports, why do we miss in football?
Well, because in other sports you can play 4 days a week or 4 or 5 days a week, where in football you're kind of limited, to that one game per week, and you can't just add another game on a Tuesday night with somebody because you both have open schedules on a certain weekend. It's just that's why I think football is just a little bit different with that, like I said, once a week event that just makes it a challenge for schools to do it themselves.
By the way, I'll jump into this topic. Matthew Morse ends up at South Dakota State. You and I talked about that was going to be the probability there, and he ends up there. Matthew Morse at South Dakota State. What do you expect?
You know what? I've had a lot of debates on this over the last few weeks. I think he could be. He'll be an all-Summit League type of player. I really do. He does a lot of things well. He might not score as much as like a Mike Dahm did when he was at SDSU, but he will affect the game in a huge way. I expect double-digit scoring from him, even out of the chute. And by the time he's an upperclassman, to be an all-league type player.
Jason Andera tonight from Sioux Falls Midco Sports, high school sports analyst, on Twitter at Andera Midco. Jason, have a great weekend, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, take care.
Appreciate it. Jason Andera hops on talking high school football scheduling, and our question of the day, Midco Sports high school sports analyst from Sioux Falls. Our question of the day is this. There's some people that aren't happy with some of the football schedules. The Activities Association has taken over the football scheduling, okay? And we've talked about Rapid City Central and Stevens, for example, and all the trips they have to make back East River. It's the nature of the beast, okay? Because you're playing South Dakota opponents, and all of them are back there, okay? So there's a lot of trips back east. I have a question of the day for high school football in South Dakota. Should the schools put together their own schedules? The State Activities Association puts them together. Here's what it is, kind of like the NFL. Okay? It's Roger Goodell. Here's the schedule. That's what the Activities Association has done. Back in the day, the schools used to do it, and you would see Central Stevens playing Wyoming teams, for example. Okay, back in the day. And then the conferences kind of started, the Greater Dakota Conference. You had that. And then you started playing some East River. And how about Jason Andera saying he would like to see some Sioux Falls schools play Minneapolis teams? Do you like that? Do you like that thought there? Because this goes every which way now. It's like, okay, when I ask this question of the day, what's my answer? And I have some thoughts where it's, okay, well, this is good that the state does it. And then on another thought I have, well, this might be good if the schools do it. And one thing on the schools doing it, we do it for every other sport. The schools do it for every other sport. And I know there's more games, but you would think if you can put a basketball schedule together, you should be able to put a football schedule together, right? What's your answer to the question of the day on the football schedules in South Dakota? Do you believe the schools should put their own schedules together? For example, then Rapid City Stevens could play Sturgis for sure. Okay? Rapid City Stevens might want to play Gillette. Would we want to see that? What say you? Thanks for calling. You're live, and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate, it's Kelly. How are you?
What's up, Kelly?
Hey, I'm good. First things first, your question of the day, yes. Back in the day, the AD would have the ability to schedule their games.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yes, the schools should be able to schedule their games, whether it's Sioux Falls School going to Minneapolis, as you suggested, or Rapid City Schools going Gillette or going wherever.
Why?
Completely agree.
Why?
Completely agree. Why?
Yeah, why do you like that?
Well, because it's the AD. I mean, they know their money, they know their budget, they know their buses, they know everything else.
Okay.
No offense, the state of South Dakota doesn't know the travel schedules of everything else. They just assume. The AD knows how much gas it takes to get here, how many buses, everything else.
See, and the argument is...
completely agree.
Okay, the argument is, like a 9-man school back East River, they're not playing a team that's 10 miles away from them. They're not playing... They're in the same class, and they're not playing them. They're 10 miles away from them because the state said, nah, they're not on your schedule. See, and that's the issue.
I know, and I hear that, but my dad coached in Lake Andy, South Dakota, and Bonesfield, South Dakota, back in the 50s and 60s. He was 9-man, 11-man, but he would schedule games where if he was 11, he would schedule a 9-man game because it was close.
Yeah, okay.
He would just make it work.
I got you.
He would make it work for both teams.
Okay.
Now, granted, it's not like a college team FBS going to an FCS school and getting $500,000. I get that part, but you still get to play.
Yeah, I got you.
And you still get the game. You don't have to travel 600 miles to play the game. Maybe you play your JV, maybe you do whatever, but you still get the game in. And I think in the end of the day, everybody's happy because they still got to play.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it, Kelly. Good to hear from you.
Wait, one more.
Huh? Oh.
One more.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
One more, sir. Sorry. No. You know what? And this is not going to go very well with the state of South Dakota. But our friend going to Brookings and transferring from Wisconsin, I'm not, and I know your Argus leader guy said, he's going to be all Summit, whatever. I'm not sure he makes the team. He's a starter. And if he is, I don't think he's going to be averaging more than 6-7 points a game. I think SDSU has much better players, and I don't think if he gets on the court, God bless him, but I don't think he's top 5 in any position at SDSU. Sorry.
He's a great player. I just watched him in high school. He's a great player.
I know. He was, but guess what? Wisconsin didn't put him on and Wisconsin played some freshmen this year, Nate. You know this.
Well, but that's a real team now.
I get it, but he wasn't a real, but let's be honest. they put a lot of stake in him, and Wisconsin played 3 or 4 freshmen all season long, and he redshirted. So if he's that good, why isn't he playing? That's
all right. We shall see. Thanks, buddy.
All right, sorry.
Appreciate
I don't mean to be negative, Manny.
It's all right.
As a USC guy, I'm not trying to be negative.
Yes, I'm
but
sure.
As
I'm
a
sure.
USC guy, I'm just saying.
All right,
Yeah.
thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Love you, bye.
Thanks. Okay. That's interesting. By the way, really close vote. Really close vote in the Nate Brown Show question of the day. Should South Dakota allow the schools to schedule their own high school football games? Really close vote. What's your answer? 720-1067 on the Barron's Wilson text line. Best place to send it. Here's where we're at. 50% of you say, well, I'm going to break it down this way. 50.4% say, yes, schedule your own games for football. The schools should schedule their own games. 49.6% of you say, no, let the state put the schedules together because the schedules would end up being weak. You could have weak schedules. And that's what my guy Matt Kearney says here in studio. Producer of the Nate Brown Show, Matt Kearney, our high school football expert. You know Kearney. And he says, we were talking earlier today, the scheduling your own games, if the schools schedule their own games, you'd end up with maybe some mismatched games, maybe some weaker schedules. Then you'd end up, would you have a real good playoffs because you'd have West River teams that maybe they'd have some cupcake games. They wouldn't go back East River as much, right? No, they probably wouldn't, to be honest, about the cost savings and the whole thing. So people would play each other around here, and then the playoff seeds would be put together, and then what would you have? So our guy Matt Kearney's on the let the state schedule the games. And where do I sit? I will tell you, it's one of my answers, and I also have 5 questions from Chris. It's a Thursday. Our loyal listener, Chris, sends in questions. I've got 5 of them, and I'll give you my answer on if the state should keep scheduling football games next.
Your sports, your show. This is the Nate Brown Show on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
There are times in life when you just have to say, this is a no-brainer, and we are doing it. And right now is one of those times. Renewal by Andersen makes the best windows you can get. They have more 5-star customer reviews than anyone in the industry. And right now you can get Renewal by Andersen windows with no money down, no interest, no payments for a full year with approved credit. A full year. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com. Renewal by Andersen. This is one of those times in life. It's a no-brainer. We're doing it.
Rapid City, you've heard me talk about 454. Have you been there yet? If you're looking for the best place to have a cold one, they have the best selection by far. 454 downtown with 54 taps of beer from local and regional breweries. Bingo night on Tuesdays, a great sports area upstairs, and they bring in live music. 454 has something for everybody, and the food is unbelievable. There's no place like it in the region, and we have it right here in Rapid City. 454 downtown Main Street.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City. This is the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
Don't miss the final Rush home games of the regular season. April 13th, the Rush face off against Tulsa at 7:05, presented by Meadowood Lanes. On April 15th, it's video game and comic book night, presented by Texas Roadhouse. On April 16th, double the family fun with racing and rally night, presented by New Miller Truck and Auto Body. The day kicks off at 3 o'clock with a free pregame car show for all fans in Rushmore Hall. Then the racing and rally game starts at 7:05. Tickets for all games start at just $15. Rapid City Rush, next chapter, same goal. Tickets at rapidcityrush.com.
All right, guys, if you need a haircut, the one place I go every time is the Man Salon. And there's a reason for it. They just do the best job. You get a great haircut with your personal stylist. I can watch a game or whatever I want in my own station. Then I get shampoo, hot towel, shoulder massage, all at a great price at the Man Salon. 2 convenient locations for you at Rushmore Crossing and on West Main. The Man Salon offers a military discount for active and retired military. For your next appointment, just book at themansalon.net.
Hi, this is Dan Patrick. Remember to catch me weekday mornings from 7 until 10 a.m. right here on 106.7 FM and 1150 a.m. Fox Sports Rapid City. And now, back to Rapid City's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
Welcome back in the Nate Brown Show live on a Thursday, The Drive at 5 on Fox Sports Rapid City. Brought to you by Summit Automotive Group, summitautogrp.com. Stacy and Matt and their staff getting it done. I'll tell you, the pre-owned selection, really good. They've got some great vehicles right now, summitautogrp.com. Start there before you buy your next pre-owned vehicle and experience the Summit difference. Car buying truly built around you. The right financing, the right vehicle, and the right approach. Michael Katz is on the way, SEC writer, Daily Journal, Mississippi. What's Nick Saban really trying to do with his statements on the state of college football? Michael Katz coming up. Mike Wall's on the way this hour. Former Green Bay Packer offensive lineman Mike Wall, straight ahead. Well, 5 questions from Chris on a Thursday before the Easter break. I like this. 5 questions from Chris on the Nate Brown Show. Chris, great listener, sends great questions. I said, hey, man, give me 5 a week. 5 a week. And he hammers it down. And I even see here, I was looking down the list here, he's got an Easter question. An Easter question. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to get to that first. My answer. Should the state continue to schedule high school football games as they have been? Okay, they took over scheduling. Your vote is really, really close. I mean, people are split. We got 122 votes on this, and people are split right down the middle. If the school should schedule football games like they do for other sports, basketball, volleyball, the list goes on, or if the state should continue to schedule for football. And I'm going to tell you this, okay? I'm going to tell you this. My one concern if the schools take over the scheduling, will we have some programs that can't find games? That's what happened before. That's what happened back in the day. It was like, well, we got our schedule full. How about you guys? We're looking for 3 games still. That's a concern. Okay? That's a concern. But can the schools do it like they do for basketball, volleyball? I think so. And what you're going to see is if this happened, if Stevenson Central could schedule their own games, they wouldn't be going back to Sioux Falls 4 times a year. So I know that right now. You'd see Stevenson Central playing Douglas for sure. They'd be playing Pierre. They'd be playing Sturgis. They'd be playing Spearfish. They'd be playing maybe a Gillette thrown in. So do we want to see that where it's like, well, you got to play so many AAA schools? That's my issue. So with a caveat here, you have to have some rules implemented. You have to play a certain number of teams in your own class. You have to have it. You can't just, if you're an 11A school, you can't fill it with 11B schools. Okay, if you're 11AA school and you're only going to be able to play so far down a class. So if people say, hey, I want to see Stevenson Central play St. Thomas More, that's not happening in football. Can't happen. That's too far of a class difference. Basketball, now that's another story. I've been wanting to see that for years. I'll keep pushing that. St. Thomas More, Rapid City Central, Stevens. Want to see that in basketball. Football, there's got to be some rules. So I'd be okay with schools scheduling their own games as they do for hoops and volleyball and soccer. But I got to have some rules because Stevens can't fill out their schedule with anybody and everybody. Ooh, whether we like it or not, there's got to be some Sioux Falls, some Harrisburg, some Brandon Valley. You got to have it. It's going to give you an accurate picture moving forward. I believe. So I'm down that like, okay, the state can do it. I'm okay with it. If the schools took it over, we ended up with a little more geographic favors here, not as much cost, not as much travel. Could we make it work if we play so many teams in our own class? I'd be willing to look at it. I'd be willing to look at it, and I think it's legitimate. 5 questions from Chris on a Thursday on the Nate Brown Show. Let's go rapid fire. Here it is. Major League Baseball has said once the A's and Rays stadium issues are resolved, Major League Baseball will go through a major realignment. What do you think that means? Well, that's a good question, Chris. Major realignment for Major League Baseball. They're doing all sorts of changes. They're doing all sorts of changes. So what does that mean? The A's and Rays, if they move the stadium, if they get a new stadium, if they don't, A's are in trouble. So A's are going to go to Las Vegas, is in my opinion. I think. That's my guess. That's just what an Uber driver told me in Vegas. You never know about those guys. He seemed like a nice guy. Got me to where I needed to go. He said, A's are coming to Vegas. Are you ready? So when this all changes, what's the major realignment? I don't know, and I don't know if it matters, meaning we got all this interleague play, and I guess divisions are important. Would we have a change of divisions? Some teams moving a little bit here and there. Would we get rid of the American League / National League? I think we're on our way there. Why? We got all this interleague play anyway. I don't want to see the big changes like that. American League gone, National League gone. I don't know the major realignment. How far would Major League Baseball go, changing teams around and divisions? I hope not very far. 5 questions from Chris. Number 2, do you think the Power 5 in college sports will split from the NCAA and form their own governing body? So then they'd have the college football playoff and the basketball tournament. Their own Power 5 basketball tournament. I don't think they'll go that far. But I will say the Power 5 is going to be a major, major factor, because you know why? I do believe they're going to split a little bit in certain ways. You know why? The NCAA Division I Council said yesterday, hey, we're going to hold off on all of our recommendations. This is the D1 Council. They make all the rules and recommendations. We're going to hold off on our recommendations till we find out what the Transformation Committee's doing. This is the Transformation Committee. You don't label it Transformation Committee at the D1 level if you're not going to make some transformations. And that means I think the big boys in the Power 5 are going to be doing their own thing more times than not. The NCAA is losing power as I speak. How about the MVP in the NBA? How about that? Playoffs starting in earnest tomorrow. Who do you think is the MVP in the NBA? I'm going to go homer on you. I will go homer on you. I don't think he might. I don't know. Is he going to go back-to-back? It's going to be hard, but I would give it to him. Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic had an unbelievable season. He averaged nearly a triple-double as a big man. I mean, he got a 7-footer shooting threes, 27 points a game, 13 rebounds a game, 8 assists a game. I know Joel Embiid says, well, I should be the MVP. You look across the statistical categories, and Nikola Jokic beats him. You got to give it to the Nuggets big man again. You got to give it to him again from the numbers. And he didn't have Jamal Murray and the whole thing in Denver. And they're right in the mix in the Western Conference. 5 questions from Chris on the Nate Brown Show goes to, do you think there will ever be a successful spring professional football league as the USFL starts up Saturday? No. We were just discussing this off the air. They've tried everything. The XFL's coming back. Did you know that? This is like the fourth version. Is this the 4th version of the XFL? 3rd version? Okay. I'm losing track. Matt Kearney's all over this for me. He wants a spring football league to happen. I'm telling you, he's in on this. You remember the AAF? Yeah, XFL. It's a mess. Now you got the USFL. Did you even know it started Saturday? No, it's never going to happen. I said that. NFL is king. It's king all year long. There will never be a professional football league that is successful in the spring. There will never say never. There will never be a professional league football successful in the spring. Not going to happen. And last but not least, 5 questions from Chris on a Thursday before Easter. What's on your Easter dinner plate? He said, are you going with ham or turkey? Chris, I've went with ham. I've went with turkey over the years. It's not great. It's not a great choice. You know what I got in my fridge right now? You know what I got ready to go? Prime rib. Prime rib. Try it. Try it. It's excellent. Excellent. Prime rib Easter Sunday for me. Coming right back with Michael Katz, SEC writer from Mississippi, the Daily Journal, on the way.
You're listening to the Nate Brown Show. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Nate Brown Show and like us on Facebook by searching Fox Sports Rapid City.
There are times in life when you just have to say, this is a no-brainer, and we are doing it. And right now is one of those times. Renewal by Andersen makes the best windows you can get. They have more 5-star customer reviews than anyone in the industry. And right now you can get Renewal by Andersen windows with no money down, no interest, no payments for a full year with approved credit. A full year. Book your free estimate right now at RBARapidCity.com. Renewal by Andersen. This is one of those times in life. It's a no-brainer. We're doing it.
Hi, folks. Kevin McPherson, McPherson Auction Company, on today's online-only auction for the Jim Lamar Estate, featuring a 2010 29.5-foot fifth-wheel camper. Features 3 slide-outs, campers in very nice condition. We also have 2 Titan gooseneck flatbed trailers, small utility diesel tractor with a loader, household items, collectibles, guns and ammo, and much more. Approximately 400 lots selling today's online auction. For more details and to bid and buy, go to McPhersonAuction.com.
Cadillac Jack's Gaming Resort is the place to stay and play in Deadwood. How about this? Bet on the game, watch the game, and play your favorite table game. You can do it all at Cadillac Jack's with BetMGM. From roulette to craps to blackjack, they have TVs all around. You won't miss a second of the game. Make your plans now to stay and play in Deadwood with Cadillac Jack's and BetMGM. Everything you want in one place.
Whether you run the race, make the catch, cast a line, pitch a tent, or just look good doing it, Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear. Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
We're all going somewhere. Going higher, faster, farther. Going in new directions, to new places. At Monument Health, we keep going so you can keep going. We're dedicated to advanced orthopedic care with the latest innovations, technology, expertise, and treatment. So keep exploring, keep making memories, keep going with Monument Health as your partner. Learn more at monument.health/orthopedics.
Broadcasting from the Anytime Auto Sales, Service, and Detail Studio. Sales, service, and side-by-sides. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Wow, busy show tonight. Busy show. Good stuff. Thanks for being here. If you missed the first hour, we had quality guests there. Sean Callahan talked Huskers, gave us some really good insight there on the Huskers. Sean Callahan live from Omaha, Husker Online. Had Heath Bell on, 3-time All-Star Major League Baseball closer for the Padres, 2009 NFL or National League saves leader. Heath Bell back in the day. He joined us talking Major League Baseball, and we continue with Mike Wall coming up, former Green Bay Packers offensive lineman, talking NFL, Packers, and more. Mike Wall on tap. First, another Michael, this is the original Michael Katz. Michael Katz covers Ole Miss, the SEC Daily Journal, live from Mississippi. Let's talk SEC football and some Nick Saban comments here. Find him on Twitter at Michael L. Katz. Michael, good to have you. How are you?
Man, I don't think I can compete with Heath Bell. I remember him. He was really good.
I know that. I was like, hey, we got Heath Bell on tonight. It's solid. Let me ask you about this situation down in the SEC. You've been covering Ole Miss, you've been covering Lane Kiffin, and Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin, have a relationship, obviously. And Lane Kiffin talked early about name, image, and likeness, saying, hey, there's no guardrails here. I mean, this is free agency. Everybody can go anywhere in the transfer portal, and anybody can get any money. He says it's not bad. I'm not against the players making money, but it's kind of tough with this free agency style. No salary cap, the whole thing like the NFL. Well, Nick Saban now says the same thing this week. What do you think these coaches are getting at?
Well, I mean, I think there is obviously, it is what it is for college football, and I think that, I think Saban and Lane are embracing it to an extent, but they are kind of, when Saban says something like that, I think people listen because, the last time he said something, I believe it was about the spread offenses, and it was like, do you want college football to be like this? And then they went and ran the spread offense and started, averaging 45 points a game. So it's like when Nick Saban says something like this, it's just a warning, like he's going to pick up on it and do it. But, I think a lot of the chatter goes back to Texas A&M. That's kind of been the hot topic around college football in the SEC, just in terms of their recruiting class. And a lot of people have kind of said that, the reason that it's happening is because of NIL, and Jimbo Fisher has fired back on that. And, Lane has made jokes and said, they should have to pay a luxury tax and things like that. And so I think it's, Lane said something really interesting a couple weeks ago, and when he was asked about NIL again, and he's always been very outspoken about that. It's one of the things he does like to talk about. And he said basically, if adults are choosing jobs for money, why wouldn't the kid do that? And it's dumb and asinine to think that kids are doing otherwise, because who wouldn't? And so I think Lane is very realistic about this, and I think he's trying to get people to realize, this is what it is going to be.
Okay, Nick Saban said, part of this interview this week, whoever pays the players the most is going to have the best chance to have the best team. I mean, there's some psychology behind this. I know what Nick Saban's doing, I think. But do you agree with that? I asked that to my audience today. Does money guarantee, hey, this is the best team?
I mean, the way I look at it is if Alabama has the most money, Alabama's going to be the best team. But even if they don't, Alabama's still probably going to be the best team because I think they're, they're going to figure it out, and I think those really good programs are going to be okay. But I think when you kind of start going down the list of maybe lesser known programs or smaller, maybe not as high profile as Bama and Clemson and Ohio State and all that stuff, I think it's when those players who might have gone to Alabama first, because let's be honest, those places are going to have the most money. That's not going to be the problem for Alabama or Texas or any of these schools. But say another school, Texas Tech, for instance, jumps in and they have a booster funding, and maybe they get that player. And so I think I think it's going to be interesting to kind of see if there was. The whole Deion Sanders thing a few months ago where, people thought that they got the top recruit in the country because of NIL, and he fought back on that. And, I don't think we ever really got an answer on that. But, maybe you start to see kids go to different programs. And I think that's, I think there is a worry that, it's going to be free agency and all teams are going to go to the best place. But, I mean, if you look at free agency in the NFL or anywhere, it's not guys always going to the Yankees or the Dodgers. It's Manny Machado taking $300 million or whatever it was with the Padres because they had the best deal for him. So I think you might get situations like that.
How about Ole Miss? I just saw the story. All these schools are starting collectives. So this is their own way. They can't be in charge of it, but a separate organization where, hey, we're going to drive revenue in here. We're going to take care of some sponsorships, and teams are doing this. Penn State, Florida, Virginia Tech just got going, Nebraska. I mean, it's a long list. Can Ole Miss compete with money with the SEC big boys?
I think that's what's ultimately going to be the question here, because right now Ole Miss is killing the transfer portal, right? I mean, they've got a top-ranked class by everyone. Every ranking has them as either one or two. But as this thing sort of progresses, we're still kind of in the experimental period where, this is all kind of firsts for everybody. And so, as it goes, do those transfers all start following the money? And if that's the case, let's be realistic. Ole Miss isn't going to be able to generally compete with the places like Alabama because that's just kind of the way it is, and I think Ole Miss understands that. And so I think it's finding the right opportunities for players. It is different when Oxford is a small community, and you have to kind of find ways to sort of get sponsorships for players in a smaller kind of college town. When there maybe isn't as much booster, support as there is at a place like Alabama. And not to say that there isn't booster support at Ole Miss, there obviously is, but it's a little bit of a different level at places like Alabama. I think it's really a fascinating sort of time in college sports to sort of, with the transfer portal and NIL happening kind of simultaneously.
No doubt.
It's really going to be interesting to see how this whole thing ends up. I don't see how it can keep going, quote unquote, unregulated, because I think the dam is going to break eventually, but I don't know when it's going to.
Yeah. I said this is wild right now. I'm intrigued by it. Michael Katz is on, covers Ole Miss and the SEC Daily Journal, djjournal.com. Find him on Twitter at Michael L. Katz. ESPN Football Power Index came out. They say, okay, here, we run through it. We go scientifically, and we give you the projections of how many games teams are going to win. The number one team in the country, the ESPN's FPI, is Alabama. You buying it?
I mean, I've been doing this for a decade where I'm like, nah, they're done, and then they go out and win like 3 more. So I'm never counting. And plus, I think they have the best player in college football, and it's not Bryce Young. I think Will Anderson is the best player in college football, their defensive end. I think it was a shame. And Bryce Young is amazing. He's the best quarterback in the country, but I think the best player in the country it was Will Anderson. I was kind of shocked he wasn't a Heisman finalist this past year with all the focus on defensive ends and whatnot. But it's like they lose a bunch of guys and they just reload. It almost doesn't really matter like who's there. They've just got such a culture and system in place. It's as we saw, they're not invincible. This was not one of the better Alabama teams. I think that was pretty obvious with them losing to A&M and then them falling to Georgia in the title game. But they're always going to be in the hunt. If I was a betting man, I think picking them to playoff would be a pretty safe bet.
I'll tell you, Texas A&M, who got that big class, I mean, they're freshmen now. They're not in the top 10 in ESPN's preseason power index. Texas A&M not in the top 10, but Texas is up to number 6. Really, really interesting. Michael Katz on tonight. SEC, Ole Miss. Find him there on Twitter at Michael L. Katz. Follow him. Michael, always good to talk to you. Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate you, man. Good to talk to you.
Appreciate the time. Michael Katz tonight, Daily Journal, live from Mississippi. Michael L. Katz on Twitter here on the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Coming right back on a busy Thursday with Mike Wall, Packers offensive lineman. Yeah, Brett Favre in the days, and now Aaron Rodgers. Is he going to have a new weapon in Green Bay? They picked up a wide receiver today. We'll talk on that and more with Mike Wall next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
Physical therapy, athletic training, and sports science all at one place. Physio in Rapid City. Dr. Dan Jensen and his team at Physio are ready to help you perform at your best. From the youth athlete to the active adult, trust the team at Physio. Physio offers the skilled, personalized approach to physical therapy and athletic training, building the best athletes in the Black Hills as the official strength and conditioning provider for Stevens, Central, and the Rapid City Rush. Learn more at bhphysio.com.
Honda True. Discover 3 tiers of vehicle coverage that work for you. Only at Denny Menholt Rushmore Honda. The inspection is just the beginning. Honda certified pre-owned means peace of mind with incredible benefits like 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage, up to 2 complimentary oil changes, 24/7 roadside assistance, inspection report, and 3-day exchange option. Check out all the benefits and search inventory at honda-true.com or come by Denny Menholt Rushmore Honda in Rapid City.
Hot dogs! Get your hot dogs! Baseball and hot dogs, they go together like front porches and rocking chairs. And with Village Hearth Buns, you don't have to go to your local ballpark to enjoy a really good hot dog. Just grill up a package of quality Franks and serve with your favorite toppings on a Village Hearth bun.
They're the same delicious buns served at baseball stadiums throughout the Midwest. Village Hearth Buns, baking our best for you.
Broadcasting from the Anytime Auto Sales, Service, and Detail Studio. Sales, service, and side-by-sides. This is Fox Sports Rapid.
We are back on the Nate Brown Show live, Fox Sports Rapid City. Catch the podcast tonight. Some great listens this week, some great guests across the board this week. We're going to take off tomorrow for the Easter break. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Okay, the Nate Brown Show podcast will be up tonight, though, featuring some great guests, including Mike Wall tonight, former Packers offensive lineman, processtoperform.com, his site and company. Find him on Twitter at MikeWall68. I wanted to talk NFL before we get rolling into the Easter weekend. Mike, thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it. How are you?
I'm doing great. Just watching some soccer today and enjoying life.
I like it. I'm going to be watching soccer very soon. Very soon. Let me ask you about this new pickup. You're a Packers guy, so I'll start Packers. Sammy Watkins comes in, not the same Sammy Watkins that we've seen. What do you say about the wide receiver coming to the Packers?
Well, listen, he's been hampered by injuries for, it seems like forever. When he came out, I remember when he was playing in Buffalo, just a young receiver with a lot of promise. Injuries have settled down, maybe the expectations for him a little bit. But this is one of those guys that you can bring in. You don't pay a lot of money for, and he's all of a sudden playing with the best quarterback in the league. Maybe he has a healthy year. He kind of returns to form. And, it could be a really good find for us, certainly. I know they wanted to bring in a veteran guy so that fills that role, and it's just a question of keeping him healthy.
Do you believe the Packers have some concern at wide receiver?
Yes.
Okay. That's it.
Sure. Short answer, yes. And not only do they have a concern, even if they draft some guys, they still, we have Lazard, we have Cobb, now we have Watkins, Tunyon's back at the tight end position, Mercedes Lewis. We have two great running backs. We have weapons, but we don't have that name that you're just going, wow, they have to double this guy. Devontae Adams, they had to worry about Devontae Adams every single snap. When you saw what Baltimore did to him. So we just don't have that. We might not have. In fact, we're not going to have that this year. Let's just call it what it is, right? Unless they end up getting DK or something, but we're not going to have that guy. So we can do this by committee. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league. He can make the committee work, especially when you have Cobb coming back. Hopefully he's healthy, and another veteran of Watkins. Lazard is taking great strides. So I don't think Packer fans are necessarily upset by the situation right now, but the more we can pack in, especially a guy who can take the top off. We lost MBS. We can take the top off with one of these young receivers. There's somebody to fill that role. I think it would really help.
Do you think the Packers should get a wide receiver early in the draft?
They haven't done that since my teammate Javon Walker, I think back in 2002. There's certainly, it looks like wide receivers are abundant in this draft, talented ones. If they do end up doing that, I think that's great. However, you always have to think about the sporting IQ of a young player, and does that match up with the expectations that a guy like Aaron Rodgers is going to have for a player at that position? That's why I think veteran guys just right now, listen, I think you should still draft a guy. If it's first round, second round, third round, fifth round, you need to draft talented players regardless. But I think when you're thinking about winning right now, I don't know if there's a Jamar Chase sitting at the picks that we have that can just come in and dominate. And so, bringing in these veteran guys, I think is maybe more important than trying to hit on a rookie on draft picks.
Former offensive lineman for the Pack, Mike Wall is on tonight. Had a great podcast out there. Find him on Twitter at MikeWall68. The site processtoperform.com had Runyon on the other day. That was interesting. Speaking of the mental side of football or sports, you guys get into this. So I want to ask your opinion on Baker Mayfield. He says he got disrespected. He says he went through all sorts of coordinators, 4 different head coaches. They told him one thing and did another. He played through an injury, and then the Browns essentially bail on him here. Who's right here?
I don't know there's a right or wrong, Nate. Certainly there's some things that are said behind closed doors that we're not privy to. I would say this, I was always a big Baker Mayfield fan. He sets himself up for scrutiny because he does so many progressive commercials, right? And it's like, especially from a player's standpoint, He hasn't made it yet. So he's got a little bit too much going on for him not to have made it yet. But I will say this: when I see Baker Mayfield's situation, and look, Deshaun Watson's a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League. If you can upgrade that position, you're going to. But what does happen, and this is kind of a warning for all young players out there, your agents are telling you not to play injured because you don't want to put bad tape out. And we think that the team's going to say, okay, I realize that Baker's playing injured for us right now. He's trying to be a warrior and help the team out. But 3 months later, when personnel is going through that tape, they don't remember how much pain he was in. They don't remember how restrictive that harness was. And they just see a guy who's not producing, and they go, okay, we need to go find another guy. Right? And that happens a lot in the National Football League. So I don't think there's a right or wrong. It's just kind of a word of caution to guys. And when you think about playing injured and all you're doing for the team is helping your guys out, these things can happen.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's an interesting deal. I don't know where Baker ends up. We shall see. Speaking of that quarterback that's at Cleveland, Mike, Deshaun Watson gets a guaranteed contract, and it's the biggest one ever. So you played in the league. You're probably sitting here going, man, where was that guaranteed stuff as an old lineman? So there's a president of the Players Association now wrote a letter to the league and said, this should be a turning point. We should be like the NBA, Major League Baseball. We need guaranteed contracts. How far is that gonna go?
Well, I think it's a decade away, right? Because they have 9 more years on this collective bargaining agreement, and one of the big problems is they have to put money in escrow for all the guaranteed money that they have after year 2.
Yeah.
The NFL owners have to put that, so it's just not going to happen. It's funny how incentives align, though. If you kind of think about this big picture. We always talk about, you hear about from media, from coaching staff and personnel guys, say we want to build this, we're all about the team, we're all about the team, we're all about the team. And athletes, essentially, because especially in the NFL, because they don't have guaranteed contracts, they are little athlete entrepreneurs. They have to put out the absolute best product possible, or they're going to get cut if their cap number gets too high, if the team doesn't feel like they're performing. So the incentives aren't necessarily aligned, for example, to stay, Aaron Rodgers right now is going to be in off-season training in Green Bay. He's going to go stay in California and work with his guys. And there was a little bit of disrupt. The media was a little bit, is that a good thing or not? But what happens, Nate, is for the most part, with most of these guys, if they don't put out a product, they're going to get cut. And so you think about how much we would align incentives if the teams would guarantee contracts with players. Because now they're saying, hey, we're going to pay you regardless. You're here. You're going to do exactly, you're going to be part of our ecosystem. You're going to develop under our guys. You're not going to have to go outside and find anybody else, because you can trust that we've invested this 5-year, $100 million deal on you. We're guaranteeing that money. We're going to do everything we can to make you the best version of yourself, and you can rest assured that we're not going to get rid of you. You don't need to go out anywhere. You don't need to go outside to look somewhere else to continue to develop. So I like it from the idea of aligning incentives. I just think we're a long ways away.
Yeah, I got you on it. It's a big thing in the NFL. Guaranteed contracts. We've only seen some. Not very many. Mike Wall on tonight, processtoperform.com. Find him on Twitter at MikeWall68, former Packers O-lineman. Mike, have a great weekend. Thanks for the time.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate you. Mike Wall on the Nate Brown Show tonight, Fox Sports Rapid City. Find his podcast there. Does one with Amon Green, a former teammate of his at Green Bay, processtoperform.com, former Packers O-lineman. The Packers try to get wide receivers. It's like Sammy Watkins today. I'm not picking on anybody, but Sammy Watkins, and you got Randall Cobb, and Lazard's fine, but I'm not too scared of the Packers' weaponry. Not too scared of the Packers' weaponry. It's going to be really interesting to see how good is Aaron Rodgers. How good is Aaron Rodgers? I think we're going to find out here. Who's hot and who's not on the Nate Brown Show next. We wrap up the Thursday show with really good stuff here. Don't miss this, okay? So this is how name, image, and likeness money is supposed to work. So when I stick up for name, image, and likeness and athletes get money, this team is going to capitalize big time as they get ready to go on a statewide tour. I'm okay with it. That's next. And an NFL player just bought a house for $25 million, the biggest purchase in this city this year. Oh, who is it? Next.
The Nate Brown Show.
At Ace Steel and Recycling in Rapid City, our goal is to make recycling your materials so quick, so easy, and so profitable that you'll become a lifetime recycler. At Ace Steel and Recycling, we buy, process, and ship scrap iron, automobiles, stainless steel, and aluminum, including cans and cast. We also buy insulated wiring, as well as copper, brass, lead, batteries, zinc, and tungsten carbide. Visit acesteelusa.com or give us a call at 342-8649. Ace Steel and Recycling, 2830 Eglin Street, Rapid City.
Here at Pizza Ranch, we appreciate innovations in food delivery, like how the ancient Italians used to slingshot hot meals to hungry Romans on the go. And while we appreciate the creativity, it turned out to be, well, a little messy. So, we found a better way to bring you our legendary pizza, the country's best chicken, and our one-of-a-kind cactus bread. Just place your order online, on the phone, or on our app, and then pick it up or have it delivered right to your door. All nicely packaged in clean, sturdy, non-flying boxes. No catching necessary. Pizza Ranch. Mmm.
Broadcasting from the Anytime Auto Sales, Service, and Detail Studio. Sales, service, and side-by-sides. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
I'll tell you what, it's been a fun day, fun show today. Thanks for being a part of it. If you missed parts of this show, we had Major League Baseball player on, Heath Bell, three-time All-Star, Mike Wall, Packers O-lineman just now. Talked some high school football, talked Huskers. Good stuff tonight. The Nate Brown Show podcast will be out there for when you can listen on your own time. Download it where you find your podcast. The Nate Brown Show podcast, readily available where you download your podcast. It'll be up there tonight. We are live with Who's Hot and Who's Not, brought to you by the Pizza Ranch. All the buffet open and ready. I'll tell you, till 8. It's 11 to 8 every day at the Pizza Ranch buffet. And I got to tell you as well, you're going to be cooking and stuff for Easter. So why not take a couple of days off, go to the Pizza Ranch with the family, friends, hit the Pizza Ranch, 2 locations in Rapid City. In my Who's Hot category, now this is how name, image, and likeness is supposed to work. We shouldn't be stopping guys from making money off this stuff. And they're not. They're going to do their own statewide tour. They're going to be calling it the Barnstorming Tour. And who is it? The Kansas Jayhawks. So the Jayhawks win the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship, and now the university and the team, they say now they're going to go city by city, basically. They're setting up autograph sessions. They're setting up sponsor events so you can come and celebrate the Jayhawks. And guess who's going to get the money? Guess who's going to get the money? The players. The players. I'm okay with it. I like it, as a matter of fact. Never would see that back in the day. Yeah, they'd make them go. Oh, hey, we're going to do the statewide tour. And, oh, yeah, well, they get nothing. And now when they sign autographs and do some of that stuff, sponsorship appearances, the whole thing, the players are going to get the money. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of programs don't do this. Let's say Alabama wins a national title. Do the Alabama championship tour? I think it's something that name, image, and likeness rights should be all about. And Kansas is going to start it off as they go statewide. In our Pizza Ranch Who's Not category, I put it in my Who's Not. Why? I don't know what this house looks like. You tell me, but he just bought the most expensive house in the city of Denver this year. And it is Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson. As a matter of fact, not just this year, it's the most expensive as he put money down on this ever in metropolitan Denver. In metropolitan Denver. Russell Wilson just made a record purchase today, bought a $25 million mansion in Cherry Hills. You know Cherry Hills Village. Very nice. So Russ is going to be living right in Denver, $25 million. He's trying to sell his mansion in Seattle for $36 million. Trying to sell that for $36 million. He gets more space in Denver. Here's what it is, and this is why it's in my Who's Not. His house is 20,060 square feet, okay? 20,060 square feet. And you know what it is? 4 bedrooms, 12 bathrooms. What are we doing, Russ? I mean, who built that house? I got 4 bedrooms and I got 12 bathrooms? What's going on? Give me a little more space. That's not a bathroom. Just give me an extra bedroom, Russ. You might want to grow the family. $25 million and I get 4 bedrooms, but I get 12 bathrooms? Russell Wilson, most expensive house in metropolitan Denver right now. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. We're back next week. Have a great Easter. Happy Easter to you. Catch the Nate Brown Show podcast. It'll be up tonight. And we'll be back next week better than ever. Thanks for listening. We'll be back here, and I sent you to the odd couple right now.